No matter how hard you try to sell, if these four things are in your life, you will not be able to sell effectively. And in today's video, I'm going to show you what these four things are and what you need to do to get rid of them. My name is Iyore. We've trained thousands of salespeople across several countries, including Nigeria, Ghana, USA, UAE, Rwanda. I'm an author of several books and resources on sales, and I'm featured on lots of media platforms to talk about successful selling. I worked at an organization where I was going to target to sell to 20 high net worth individuals. I was able to bring in 21 high net worth individuals to the organization in a single month. I also participated in a sales competition where I won, and I was sent for the World Cup and all expense paid trip. I moved to another organization where I was able to double my portfolio by over 100% in just 11 months. I'm CEO of Ultravantage and our specialties in Salesforce management. This means work with CEOs, partnering with the team leads and heads of teams to help them optimize sales results and get sales results faster and in record time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these are the four things that stop salespeople from selling. You know, the funny thing is, these four things, if you don't confront them intentionally, you never get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm at the C-suite now, I'm a manager now, I'm very experienced now. Therefore, these four things don't pertain to me. They pertain to everybody at every level. Now, it's required that you constantly improve or constantly work on these four things. It's also required that from time to time, you check in to see if you are aligned and you have dealt with these four things. The first one that everybody must deal with is what we call your upbringing, how you were brought up, how you were raised. A lot of people don't know that where the part of town they lived, the kind of school they went to, the kind of home they grew up in, the kind of neighbors they had. And when they looked outside the window, what they saw every day, all these things were programming them. Your environment has been programming you up till now. If you grew up in an environment or in a country that is not entrepreneurial in nature, that is not constantly thinking about going the extra mile, pushing beyond the limits, you're always thinking about safety, security, it's going to affect how well you can sell. If when you grow up, you're always told you can't do it, you can't accomplish it, it's not for you, you were told those kind of words, it would affect how you can sell. There's a documentary on YouTube here by a man called Dr. Bruce Lipton. And in that documentary, he talks about how when a child is born between the ages of 0 to 7, the child is programmed by his or her environment. Everything that happens in a child's environment is what ends up forming that child at age 7. In fact, it is said that show me a child when it's 7 and I will show you the man. Meaning, the moment you're 7, you are already formed, and that's how you'll be for the rest of your life. So if you grew up in lack, you grew up in poverty, a lot of difficulty, you were not exposed to the best things of life early. Unfortunately, those things go into you to affect your outlook of how life is. Now, when people now join a sales team or they're trying to sell, those things, those silent triggers, keep pulling them back. It will keep on coming to you. Oh, you can't do this. You're not supposed to accomplish this. You're not from a rich home. You are not a rich person. You are not smart enough. Look at the kind of school you went to. Look at where you grew up. You came from the slum. All those things will keep haunting. And even if maybe you said, okay, but you came from a wealthy background, what was said to you? What words were your teachers saying to you? What words were your parents saying to you? All those things will hold you back. Now, how do you get rid of it? It is not, you are not responsible for all this programming. You're not responsible for the country of your birth. You're not responsible for what happened to you between the ages of 0 to 7. But from now on, even if you're 30, 40, 50, listen to me, you are responsible for the rest of your life now. And it's never too late to make a change. One thing you can do to cause that change is what we call affirmations. Affirmations, what you say to yourself every day. Words paint pictures. This means that the pictures that you saw in your environment, when you opened your window, what you saw, if you saw suffering, you saw lack, if that's what you saw when you looked outside your house of your window, if the environment you grew was an environment of suffering, lack, difficulty, if that's what you saw, words can also create pictures that will show abundance to reprogram that thinking. If you were told, even if you grew up in a wealthy environment, but in that environment, you were always told by your teachers or by your parents, you can't do it, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not as good as your brother, you're not as good as your sister. If that's what you were told, words, those words that have given you this self-identity now, words you speak today can reprogram it. Now, it's not going to happen once. Think about it. This edifice of upbringing, this edifice of negativity that has been built in your life all these years, it can't be brought down in one statement. There's this thing by the late Stephen R. Covey. He says, you cannot talk your way out of things you behaved yourself into. This means you couldn't have been reprogrammed wrongly and you have been behaving that way for several years, and all of a sudden you just talk and everything will go. No. First thing, the talk must be consistent. The talk must be consistent. See, when I grew up, I realized that I wasn't a very confident person. I don't know exactly where it came from or exactly what was the cause, but one thing is certain, based on science, is some of these factors that I've shared with you today. Now, how did I reverse it? I came across affirmations, what we call confessions, what you say to yourself every day. And I remember as a salesperson, I'm walking from my parents' house all the way to the bus stop. I open my phone and I'm saying certain things to myself as I'm walking to the bus stop. When I get to the bus stop, I'm there for about 15, 20 minutes waiting for the staff bus to come. While I'm there, I'm saying those things to myself, saying them to myself. I built some affirmations. I will tell myself I'm wise, I'm smart, I'm strong, I can sell, I love to sell, I love to help people, I'm super intelligent, no one can sell better than me, I'm the best in my organization, I'm number one, I'm exceeding any sales target that has been given to me. I try my best to make sure that whatever it is I'm saying it in present tense and I'm saying it in past tense. I have exceeded my targets. I am number one in my company. Super intelligence is at work in me. God is in me. I'm sound. And I'm talking to myself. And ladies and gentlemen, wasn't long. As those words were being spoken, I was reprogramming myself. And I started to realize that my confidence started to grow, started to improve. Are you aware that when you start a new exercise, no matter what it is, you will experience two things. You will see what we call immediate results. The results will not be significant enough for you to see that things have changed, but you will notice that something has happened. And in the long term, the second thing, you will see a transformation. So when you start practicing affirmations, saying the right things to yourself, you will see immediate results, immediate improvements, but it may not be significant enough to be permanent. But you have to keep at it. So you set the time, 15 minutes every day. You set the time. See, it's been many years now, over 20, maybe I don't know how many years, maybe over 25 years, maybe. All these years, I still do affirmations up to today. I'm going for a training session, I'm talking to myself, stirring up my self-confidence. I'm going for a meeting with prospects, I'm talking to myself, stirring up my self-confidence. So you see, I don't think it ends. I think you just have to make sure that, certain things affect your confidence from time to time. The world we live in is a negative world. When you watch the news, when you have conversations with people, something leaves you. Some things people are drawing from you. So you have to find a way to refill. And one of the ways you can refill is by saying these things to yourself. Now, this is just one of the points. It's not enough. There are 3 other things. The second thing that stops people from selling effectively is what we call ignorance. Ignorance. They don't even know what they are selling. They don't understand the products. They've not taken time to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been privileged to help a lot of sales teams transform their sales. I've been privileged to help a lot of individuals transform their results. And I will tell you for free, one of the most significant things that we do when we walk into a company is that we help them master their products in record time. How do we do this? For example, I'm doing some work for a company, real estate company. In this company, I asked them, I said, what do you do every morning? Listen to this. What do you do every morning? They said, oh, we resume work by 8 o'clock. We pray from 8 to 8:30. Then from 8:30 to 9, they do what we call knowledge sharing sessions. They do knowledge sharing sessions every day. Yet, most of the salespeople don't even know the products. But they've been doing knowledge sharing sessions. What am I trying to tell you? Knowledge sharing sessions, which is reading the products, looking at the products, trying to talk about the products amongst the staff, is not enough. If you want people to memorize the product, this is what we did. And this is what we are currently doing for this company, which we've been doing for many companies, and they've been working. Once you execute it, you get results. We come up with at least 30 to 50 questions from every product. As much as possible, these are not FAQs, these are more like technical questions, so that we can be sure that no matter the direction the prospect comes, you can answer the questions. Remember, the role of product knowledge is not so that you can answer all the prospect's questions. That's not even the role. The role of product knowledge is so that you can feel very confident. There is something about knowledge. The Bible says knowledge puffeth up. This means that when you know what you're supposed to know and the level at which you're supposed to know it, automatically you are guaranteed that nothing can go wrong. So knowledge is very powerful. So if you keep improving your knowledge base, you keep learning about your products, you keep recalling. See, spend more time recalling than you do reading the products. I'll say that again. When you try to learn a product to sell, spend more time recalling it than you do trying to read it. And don't try to sell too many products at a time. Max, if you're a realtor, for example, max 3 projects, 3, max. The moment you get to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you will have a tendency of mixing them up. And you will not be as sharp and as confident when communicating the product. When we draft out these 30 questions, we upload it on a Google Sheet or they do it manually. We just make sure that every day, everybody in the company takes this assessment. The goal is for everybody to score at least 100% 3 times consecutively before we can say, okay, good, everybody now knows the products. So there's a rigor, the ignorance. As long as you don't know what you're supposed to know to sell, it's going to affect how you sell, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to affect how you sell. The third thing that stops you from selling effectively, the third thing is what we call fear. Fear. Do you know the issue with fear? Fear comes from several channels, several gates. Fear can come from your ears, meaning what you hear, conversations with people. Fear can come from your eyes, meaning what you see, what you watch. If you watch horror movies, you watch things in the news that are negative, or you see a lot of things happening in the environment that trigger you. You see people failing, people not doing well. Come on, fear would be the results. They come through the gates, eyes, ears, then they get into you. Then it gets into you. And you know the funny thing? Fear is a spirit. It's a spirit. So you want to see, there are people who, they are so fearful. They are so fearful. If once you bring up a target, they are afraid. They say, I'm not sure it can be met. Once they tell them, when they're going for a meeting, they are afraid. They're not sure the person will buy. Every time they are afraid. You want to kill fear today, ladies and gentlemen. This is not something that you outgrow. You don't outgrow it. You have to deal with it. Because as you grow, fear grows with you. You must deal with it. And how do you deal with it? You take massive action. You start to train yourself to act in the opposite direction of fear. The moment you see, every time you respond to fear, fear grows. Every time you refuse to respond to fear and act in the opposite direction, fear dissipates. So you want to dissipate fear completely in your life by taking action consistently. What are the things that you normally will not do that you know that you should do? For example, you're in your office and all of a sudden, your boss comes and says, all right, tell me about how, or asks a question, or ask a volunteer to come forward and present, and you're so many in your class, in your company. But you know you don't even like speaking in public. You don't like presenting because of fear. What are you supposed to do? You get up and you raise your hand and say, sir, can I speak? What are you doing? You're acting in the opposite direction of fear. The solution to fear is courage. Courage is the ability to take action even when fear is present. You must start to train yourself from now to take action when fear is present. Fear is present, yes, I will still do something. I will still do what I need to do. It's looking like you may not succeed, yes, but I will still move in that direction. It's looking like I may not meet my target this month, but I will not just sit back in the office. I will still go for meetings, I will still prospect. You're going out to meet people and you're looking at people's faces, you're wondering, what do I see when I get there? Ladies and gentlemen, it is better you walk up to the person and you look stupid than for you to not do anything and you'll be stupid forever. Because even if you look stupid, it will just be at the beginning. See, anything worth doing, anything worth succeeding in is worth doing poorly at first. If it is worth it for you to succeed in this profession, in this craft of selling, it is worth it to look funny, to look embarrassing, to engage, to walk up to people, and your speech was not so smooth. It's worth it because you have started in the process. But if you don't start in the process, the fear would remain. Your life will remain as it is. Things will not get better like you expect it to be. As simple as getting up in church or in a program, you're in a crowd, a gathering, you feel like using the restroom. But because you feel, I feel awkward walking through the crowd, people will be looking at me. You are self-conscious. I've been there. You are self-conscious. It's affecting you. But what I'm telling you now, confront it. Get up and go. Go to that restroom. Walk back to your seat. By the time you're getting back to your seat, you will not be the same person. There's a saying, the person that walked into the storm is not the same person that walked out of the storm, because that was the purpose of the storm. And the final point that's stopping people from selling effective, ladies and gentlemen, is strong emotional experiences. Ladies and gentlemen, are you aware that if you've just had a heartbreak, maybe a divorce, maybe you just lost a loved one, or maybe you just got some bad news, or you just lost your job, are you aware that as significant as these things, they may just sound, if you have not experienced them before, you may be wondering, how does this stop someone from selling? Strong emotional experiences cause what we call a reset on the inside. These resets on the inside can be so dramatic that for some people, they forget how to sell. They forget the techniques they should apply. See, selling is scientific. There are things you must follow as steps to sell successfully. Some people forget their lines. They forget all those things. Their outlook on the world changes, and it suddenly affects the perspective with which they see prospects and how they engage. They no longer sell from a place of purpose. To change that, to adjust that, or to get yourself back to where you were, or to even get yourself back to to move yourself to even a higher level from where you were. Because sometimes a setback sets us up for a great comeback. This means that sometimes when things go back and go so bad, think of an arrow. When you have a bow and an arrow, right? When you put the arrow on the bow and you pull it back, the farther back you pull it, the farther forward the arrow is likely to go. So sometimes when these emotional experiences hit us, if we use it right, it will take us so far. Someone says no crisis must go to waste. The best things in life, the best opportunities of life came out of a major crisis. And one thing you can do to resolve this issue and make yourself come out faster is using your imagination. See what it looks like when you have succeeded. See what it looks like when you are back on track. You are in a better relationship again. You are married again. You have kids again. You're happy again. You are selling again. You are number one again. See those things. If you practice this with your mind and you see it consistently, someone walked up to me after a training session and she said, I've been number one in my company for years, but all of a sudden, it has been 4 months, I've not been able to sell. What do I do? I told her, I said, take our course, Super Selling. In that course, you will see the answer. And I've told you what the answer is in today's video. Using your imagination. Because when you practice using your imagination, there are several things that will come into your life and will be readjusted because of imagination. You see, the world we live in is a world of energy. And imagination controls the forces of energy that align things for you or based on what you desire. So ladies and gentlemen, please practice these things. I learned that one of the greatest times to practice imagination is just when you're about to sleep off at night. So while you're in your bed, just close your eyes and see what it looks like when you have succeeded, when you have won. When you wake up in the morning too, early hours of the morning too, you practice it again. And you find out that in a matter of days, weeks, months, you'll be changed. Thanks for watching this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you haven't watched this video, watch this. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe here as well. Thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.